Hi, I'm Angela Levy, and I'm a fourth grade distance learning teacher in Ithaca, New York. And this short video will illustrate how to adapt a Project Look Sharp lesson to online learning with elementary age students. There are a few different models that teachers use when leading a media decoding in distance learning. Synchronous activities take place live, with all parties gathered in a video conference such as Google Meet or Zoom. Teachers and students have discussions and respond in real time as a group. Kids can collaborate and have smaller discussions in breakout rooms, much like you'd have small group discussions in a classroom. Asynchronous or student-paced activities take place when kids are not meeting live. In this format, the lesson is posted to whatever learning management system or LMS that the teacher is using, like Google Classroom, Seesaw, Canvas, or Teams. Directions and materials and a platform for student responses are embedded so that students can access them and engage in the lesson while not meeting with their teacher. While both of these modalities are appropriate for media decoding, a blended model with aspects of both synchronous and asynchronous approaches often works best for the elementary classroom, particularly given the many challenges of distance learning with young students. There are many, including the following. Kids sometimes have issues hearing.
I didn't hear anything you said because the internet just died.
Kids leave and come back for various reasons. Now I can hear you a little bit. So while Bobby's trying to figure out what he's doing there, would anybody else like to jump in and talk about what you think they're trying to do? Kids show up after the lesson has begun. Oh, and Holden and Alex, I'm really glad you're here. You can go to the Seesaw activity. You're going to see it that was posted to you. And it says, YouTube recommendations, what do I do? Kids get distracted by myriad things. Do you think that you could, instead of changing your name a bunch of times, follow along with us? Thanks, I appreciate it. Kids don't hear the directions the first time.
What should I do?
Oh, so Ellie, we're going to go over to the Seesaw activity, all right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to have a chance to look at what we just looked at together, but this time you can find evidence. Now I will show you excerpts from a media decoding activity with fourth graders using this blended approach. My students will be analyzing YouTube recommendations that came up when searching the phrase, "Is the Earth flat?" This is from the Project Look Sharp lesson, YouTube recommendations, what do I do? So what we're going to look at today together is we're going to look at a YouTube results page. All right, so that's what happens when you go to YouTube and search. And this is an example of a search that somebody did. So when I do that, I'm going to type a question that somebody typed in. And the question was, is the Earth flat? Okay. So before I even show you the results page, like, what is your first reaction to my asking the question, is the Earth flat?
The answer is no. Why would you ask that question?
Okay, JP, what's your reaction?
I know it's a no, but I've actually seen a YouTuber see if the Earth was flat. Even though we all know it's not, so.
So taking a look at those, I want to know, what do you think the creators of this YouTube video description want me to do? Any of these descriptions. So remember, people made these. They typed out the description.
The Earth is flat.
So yeah, so let's think about this. What do you think their goal is? The YouTube creators, the creators of these videos that made these descriptions, what do you think they want you to do? Elena.
Leave a like and subscribe.
Sorry, what was that, Elena?
Click it and watch it and favorite and like it and subscribe.
You're saying click it, like it, subscribe it. I heard Grace say like it and subscribe. Does anybody else have an idea about what you think they want you to do?
They want you to watch the video.
Yeah, what makes you think that, JP? Why do you think they want you to watch the video?
Because they want you to think something that might not be true.
So like, in other words, are you saying that they're trying to convince you of a thing?
Yes.
And why do you think they would want to do that? What would be the purpose? Like, remember, we're talking a lot about purpose and audience when we're talking about opinion writing. what would be the purpose of convincing you of something that's not true or getting you to watch one of these videos? What are you thinking is why they would do that? All right, so here is what we're going to do now, because I want you to have the opportunity to really think about these questions. So I'm just going to show you here that in this CISA activity, which I have linked for you, I've asked you a few questions, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to look really closely at this document and get some evidence about what you're thinking, all right? So a couple of the questions are things that I just asked you. So I'm just repeating the questions that we just discussed together. And then the final question that I'd like you to think about while you're working on your own, and then we'll come back together and talk, is are these YouTube recommendation descriptions effective in getting kids to click on them? Now, when I say effective, it's like, would most kids click? If it's effective, it's getting you to do the thing. So when you're looking at this, you can use the highlighter, you can type, you can record yourself, but I want you to be backing up your ideas with evidence. So like if you're saying this would be effective because look, this thing really makes me want to click on it. And right here, this makes me think a certain thing. All right. So I'm going to give you kids, what do you think? Would 5 minutes of looking at this document?
Can 7 work?
7 could work, yes. I can give you 7 minutes. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. I'm going to stay here. If you have questions, you can ask me questions while you're doing it, but I want you to look really carefully at the document, and then we're going to come back together and talk a little bit more, okay? In that last question that I asked you, and I'm hoping that you were able to think about that, is are these YouTube recommendation descriptions effective in getting kids to click on them, and why? Do you think that these are effective?
Very.
What's that?
They're very effective. Like that flat earth one is very effective.
In that it made you want to click on it?
Yes.
I wanted to be effective. I wanted to see what it was.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's like when something is piquing your interest, it makes you want to see what it is. What did you want to share, Alina?
I've been raising my hand a lot, and I didn't even realize that my camera wasn't even on. So.
Ah, well, that's why I didn't see you.
I think that an astronomer response to flat Earth theory thing looks kind of cool. Like the picture is really interesting looking, and also I think that on the second page, that guy who is saying proving the Earth is flat.
Mm-hmm.
I think he looks like an eccentric, cool guy scientist, which also would be.
Right. So I've heard you kids name several different things that make these enticing. Enticing means it makes it like desirable to find out more, right? They look exciting, they look funny, they look interesting, they're saying crazy stuff. So clearly these things are really effective in getting you to click on them. So if this is kind of a general, what it might look like when you type things in about it, what does this suggest about what YouTube is recommending, right? Because this is purposeful, right? It's not random. When you type this in, YouTube or the algorithm is deciding what to show you. And it seems like what they're showing you seems like it's super effective in getting you to click on it. So what does this make you think about the recommendations list and how you should interact with them? How should you interact with them?
I think that you should be careful on what you click on because some of it might be bad.
Interesting. Would anybody like to either add on to Grace or say something else about that?
Be a good digital citizen.
Tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Be careful what you click on, because
be careful.
Be careful what you click on. You don't want to end up something that you don't want to see.
Okay, and I saw just looking at the chat, Elena also said that YouTube only shows the things that hook you. Now we've been talking a lot about hooks in our persuasive writing, right? So, and Elena, why do you think they do that? Why are they only showing you the things that hook you?
To make you keep watching.
Ooh, sorry, Elena, you go ahead, and then Ellie, I want you to say more about that.
Because if they keep showing you boring stuff, then you're going to think, oh, YouTube's the worst website ever. I'm not ever going to use this again. They have such boring stuff.
Ellie, did you want to add on? Because I think you're both saying very similar things.
Yeah, so they're like, make this video, and they're like, I want to make this super cool. So they make this super cool.
And tell me more about what you said about they want you to keep watching.
Yeah, so they're like, they're kind of like, to find out more or something like that. And then you're like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, the cliffhanger. But I just want to just circle back around to that idea that a couple of you said about they want you to keep watching. Why do you think YouTube has an interest in getting you to keep on watching and clicking and subscribing? And
so you get famous, and so they get famous and you subscribe.
And what did you say, JP? I couldn't hear you there.
They want to get paid. So they get paid. They get paid when people click on the videos.
My final thought for you was saying that as a person who is going to be consuming videos and articles and different things on the internet, I want you to always think about these questions. What are they trying to get me to do? What are they trying to get me to think? Why? Who's benefiting from this, right? So your job is to make sure that you're not just passively consuming stuff, but you're asking yourself these important questions. I hope that this video is helpful in guiding you as you plan ways to engage with your students online with inquiry-based media decoding.